Hello everyone! In this week's video, we're going to start the Let's Make a Manga series. So this is going to be a series of videos that kind of walks you through my comic/manga creation process. So this video is going to talk about getting story ideas and ways that can help inspire story ideas. Now you could also get a story writer, or maybe you have a friend that writes stories or a family member. So you don't have to be a story writer to create a comic book. You could just be the illustrator. But for me, myself, I usually write my own stories. So I thought it'd be helpful to give you some tips on how to think of story ideas. So let's get started. Oh, and so you're not just staring at nothing. I recorded myself working on my webcomic, My Next Door Neighbors. So that's what you'll be watching me do as I talk. Okay, so on to the first tip. Take inspiration from real life. Throughout my daily life, I'll often try to keep my eyes and ears open for interesting ideas. Things like the news or everyday events, or even something that happened to a friend or family member, can really help spark inspiration. On to the next tip. Dreams can give really interesting ideas for stories. Just make sure to keep something by your bed so that you can write down the dream. Because I'll often remember the dream right when I wake up, but as the day goes on, I'll hardly remember the dream at all. And the next way that can help you inspire story ideas is music. Music can also be really inspiring. Like, let's say I'm listening to a sad breakup song. I'll often ask myself questions like, what kind of character would be singing the song? How could they relate to it? What would make the character feel the things this song describes? Or I'll try to make a story that fits the song. So music can be really inspiring. The next way that can help inspire a story idea is to create a character, then ask yourself, what is this character's life like? So sometimes I find it easier to make characters and then incorporate them into a story. So sometimes when I'm drawing and I draw a character, and for some reason that character will kind of stick out to me and I'll really like them, so I'll make a story and personality for them. I'll ask myself things like, what is this character's daily life like? What's their family like? What do they like and dislike? Do they have a person that they like? Do they have goals and dreams? I'll basically just make a whole life for that character. And while I'm in the process of doing that, I'll often end up with a story by the time I'm done, or it'll help inspire a story. This next one is story generators and random word generators. I thought I would include this one because story idea generators on the internet can be really helpful and make some really random and interesting ideas that you maybe wouldn't think of. And also random word generators can help inspire story ideas. Like, let's say you get the word fluffy. And you have to try to make a story that revolves around the word fluffy. It can give you an interesting idea, or maybe make you think of things that you wouldn't usually think of. So story generators and random word generators can be helpful. I personally really like this next way of inspiring story ideas, and that is to write about what interests you or what you know about. I think writing about things that interest you can be a really good way to make a unique story, and it also makes it really fun. Like, I took ballet classes for 10 years, so I have a pretty good knowledge on ballet technique and the names of the moves and stuff. And it also is something that really interests me. So that would be a good thing to make a story about because I know quite a bit about it and it also really interests me. So if you play a sport, you could write a story on that. Or let's say you are very interested in aquatic life, but maybe you don't know a lot about it right now, but you can learn more about it, and then you can take what you learn and include it in your story in some way. And it can be a really fun way to write a story. Deciding who your audience is can help you create a story. Now, deciding who your audience is doesn't really inspire ideas, but it can help you narrow down what kind of story you want to write. Like, Like, do you want to write a story targeted at 12-year-old boys or 16-year-old girls? Now, I'm not saying you need to limit your story to something that you think only a certain demographic would like, but it can help you decide what kind of content to put in the story. Like if you're writing a story for a 10-year-old girl, it'd probably be pretty different from the kind of story you'd write for a 22-year-old male. So deciding who your targeted audience is can kind of help you decide what kind of story you want to write. This next tip is make your story revolve around an object. Sometimes making your story revolve around a certain object can help inspire ideas. It doesn't have to be something fancy, it could just be something simple like a box of tissues or a bowl of cereal. Just pick a random object and then try to make a story with characters that includes that object. And this last tip is inspiration can strike at any moment. So sometimes I can try so hard to come up with a story idea, I can be trying for hours to try to think of some kind of story idea to write about, and I just won't be successful. And then one day I'll be sitting on my couch, eating cereal, and then I'll just get a random thought out of nowhere that totally inspires a complete story. That's literally how I got the ideas for this webcomic. I was just sitting on my couch eating cereal, and then I had a random thought, and then I ended up with this. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't force it too much. If you're getting frustrated and nothing seems to be working, it might just be better to take a break for a little bit and just kind of let your brain rest and to just kind of maybe wait for inspiration to come. So those are the ways that can help inspire story ideas. I hope this video was a little bit helpful, and I hope you look forward to the rest of the episodes in this series. And so yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!